Last week we talked about thinking in terms of phrasing, and I gave the Europa example by Carlos Santana, and gives you an idea to kind of group your soloing, group your notes in a certain uh, order or phrasing. Groups of four are really, really, really good to work with. Many songs that in popular music is written in fours, and certainly not all. There's 6/8, and there's 3/4, and there's others. But it gives you the idea on how to structure your soloing to kind of tell a story. Now, in this one, I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about how this relates to English or whatever language you are. Actually, it doesn't even have to be English. I'm just because it's the language I speak. So I'm going to talk in terms of English and how it's constructed, and then also how we look at what's called the tonic. All right, you ready? All right, so first of all, in English, really quick, when we read a paper, when we read the poetry, when we read a story, right, what do we have in there? And punctuation. I know, I don't mean to bore you here, but this is actually important. All right, we have what's called commas, and we have what's called periods, and we have semicolons and colons. We have all these little marks here that sort of tell you where you are in either a sentence or in a paragraph, right? So I'm going to specifically talk about the commas and the periods because I think that's really where if we can kind of think of this analogy when we're soloing, it would really matter and it would really make your soloing that much better. So let's go really quick back to that Europa example that I was using last week. And here it is in a nutshell, just to sort of review. All right, let's look at that line. There's 4 lines, right? So line 1 is this. Line 2. Line 3. And line 4. Each of those lines, when it ends, it implies, when you're listening to it, it sounds like there's more to come. It doesn't seem like it's fully resolved. It feels like when you hear... I mean, if that was all that was played, it'd be like, that's it? There's got to be more to it, right? There needs to be something to finish that line. Just much in the way you're telling a story, much in the way that a singer is singing that line, or the poet is writing that prose right there, that verse, whatever that they do in poetry. Sorry, poets out there. But anyway, so what you want to do is think about that's just sort of an ending, but you want to create that moment that ends it, sort of like, oh, that's a pause. There's something more coming, right? And then at some point it's going to get resolved. But there's all these little pauses, these little... all right, that's one pause. We're kind of waiting, and then where's our next... Oh, okay, that's kind of like what he said the first time, but now the second time he's saying that line just a little bit different, but it still tells me, wait, there's more to come. Right? Ooh, it's like I'm almost there to the end of the story. So I think of those lines that ends each of those as commas. A comma is, when you read it, you're saying, oh, there's something coming up. It's about ready to tell me something, right? So a comma, that's what it does. The comma just sort of says, well, all right, I just finished telling you this, and now there's more to come, right? Where the period kind of ends it. It's a resolving point. It says, all right, I just finished telling you what I needed to tell you in this sentence or in this paragraph, and now we're going to continue on to the next line of thought, okay? Guitar soloing, and it's just like with songwriting, right? Songwriters get this. All of you who are songwriters are probably saying, duh, and you're right. It should be a duh. But a lot of us guitar players don't always get this, right? We're too hooked up in our tricks and our, the licks and all the fancy stuff, which is cool, and it's fun, and I do them too. But we need to fit in terms of a story that we want to tell when we're playing, right? So anyway, so that's what those were. Those were like commas ending each line. Now, the end of the 4th line, I don't think it was a period necessary. It didn't finish the story. It told me that there's more to come. So there's this little thing in English called semicolon. It kind of sort of ends a thought. Oh, look, I'm not an English major, so English majors can comment below and tell me what all this stuff means even better. But that semicolon sort of is like kind of a period, but it still kind of says there's still a little bit more to come. And that's what that fourth line was. It was that kind of says, I don't think we're done yet. I think we're going to say a little bit more. And then he comes back and then repeat the line. That's one of the most awesome things about soloing is you sort of repeat a line. If you got a cool line you were playing, repeat it. Come back to it. It's kind of part of the main line of the story. People like to hear that. They like to hear that repeat, right? Right? How many songs do we hear? How many pop songs do we hear? Many, right? What does the songwriters do? That's the chorus line. That's usually the line that you remember, right? They're constantly repeating that line, right? Think of anything from the Beatles to the Stones to the latest artists now, right? That's what a great songwriter will do. Well, be a great guitar soloist and do the same thing. Come up with something that you can just come back and repeat. And that's what Carlos does. After he finished that fourth line, that sort of ended that 4-line stanza, but it's like, nope, there's still more of that story that's coming. So what did he do? The next 3 lines of this second paragraph, if you will, I don't know if it's a paragraph, the next grouping of phrases was what? It was the same thing. He just repeated it because it was really cool. It sounded great. And this is mostly what I remember, at least when I think of the song. All right? Here's another one. Right? But then this fourth line tells you this part of the story is over. That note right there tells me, ooh, I think we're over. And then he just throws in a quick little thing, right? Right? Which is what you could do. So what he was doing was focusing on that. That's the phrasing. That's how it applies. And I was thinking, like I said, in terms of English. That's how I think of it. Here, where's your period? Where's your comma? And how are you going to group the lines? It makes for a great solo. So anyway, I hope that helps you with this part of the phrasing. Now I'm going to cover next, we're going to get into what's called the tonic. All right. So what is a tonic? It's a drink, right? Well, I got more to tell you about that in the next video. All right. Thanks a lot. And good luck in your soloing. Diddle diddle diddle. Try again. This is part 2. Diddle diddle diddle. I can't get this one right.